The FBI is sounding the alarm that our food supply is being targeted by the Chinese Communist Party, as 2 Chinese nationals have been charged with smuggling a potential agro-terrorism weapon into the U.S.
This is really insane. Lucas Thomason joins us live in Washington with the details. Good morning, Lucas.
Good morning, guys. A Chinese researcher at the University of Michigan and her boyfriend have been accused of smuggling a biological pathogen into the United States that can cause devastating diseases in crops.
Well, according to the report, the Justice Department says that this particular toxin causes vomiting, liver damage, and reproductive defects in humans and livestock. So
everybody that's dressing like cows, double hit.
Every week, we break down the headlines behind your blood pressure spikes and the unread texts you're pretending not to see. Hot takes, cold facts, and just enough bold opinion to get you banned from dinner before the potatoes are even mashed.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Podpinions.
I'm Rich.
And I'm Bruce.
And we're here again. What episode is this?
I think it's around 6 or 7.
So we're on Rumble now. We actually have a name.
Yes, we picked a name. We're like,
we even have an announcer guy.
We have a name.
Right?
We have a name.
We have the announcer guy. What is his name? Do you know?
I don't want to mispronounce his last name, but
we have an announcer guy. He does the intro there.
Yeah.
And nice radio voice.
Yes. I believe he's done some stuff with the big, the blockbuster movie narrations and the promos and stuff. Yeah.
So here we are. Another day, another night.
That's right.
Another Podpinion.
Another Podpinion. We got lots of them.
Oh man, it's like, I was at an auction today, so I kind of missed the news because I was too busy, buying stuff. But I came back and I'm looking at the news online and it's like, oh my God, where do we start? But the biggie, which all of them,
right,
including, CNN, CBS, Fox, BBC Radio, BBC News online, they're all talking about how the Chinese nationals have smuggled agro-terrorism agents into the United States via the University of Michigan.
Can you imagine?
No. Here we go again, folks. So these 2 kids, well, I don't know if they're kids or not, but they're graduate students at the University of Michigan in their bio lab. The one guy smuggled this stuff, and it's supposed to be really nasty. It's a dangerous biological pathogen. And he wanted to study it at the University of Michigan. Why not just leave it in China?
Right.
But it turns out that both of these students are Chinese nationalists, and they're both spies. So here we go again.
So I guess the vetting wasn't really done well in the last 4 years or so, I don't think.
So what's interesting about this stuff is that, where was it? It can do some serious damage. It's a fungus called Fusarium gramininarium. I can't pronounce it. It's a potential agro-terrorism weapon, according to the Justice Department. And the noxious fungus, ready for this one, causes head blight, a disease of wheat, barley, maize, and rice, and is responsible for billions of dollars in economic losses worldwide each year. So they want to do that and kind of wipe out our food sources. So,
well, I think a lot of that also, we've kind of let that happen to ourselves. I don't know whether this is all tied to it, but I've seen several, videos online where people are going overseas, Europe, different countries over in Europe, and they've had gluten allergies.
Right.
And they're eating bread and pizza, and it's not bothering them. So I'm wondering if something like this is something that, getting into our food source, not this particularly, if this is new, but
like it.
Right.
Well, according to the report, the Justice Department says that this particular toxin causes vomiting, liver damage, and reproductive defects in humans and livestock.
And livestock.
So
everybody that's dressing like cows, double hit.
But no, if you think about it, though, I mean, that's pretty scary.
Yeah.
Because not only could it wipe out, corn and all this other stuff, plants, but if it hits the livestock, no more meat.
And, like, don't we sell corn to other countries? Don't we sell livestock to other countries? I mean, isn't it kind of like you're going to poison yourself eventually?
You would think, but I just, this is my Podpinion now, is so if it kills the livestock worldwide, eventually, what is Bill Gates trying to do?
With the fake meat. Dun, dun, dun.
The plot thickens.
That's right.
Thick plottings. So,
and what does that have to do with cutting all the trees down?
Yeah, I don't know.
You heard that, right?
Yeah.
This idea of cutting all the trees down.
What does that do?
That's the point. Don't the trees take out the CO2 and the oxygen? Correct. And that's
So I heard something on the radio this morning on my way to that auction, and they were talking about by the year, I didn't quite understand it, and then I had to go look it up. They threw out a year, the announcer and or the news guy, and I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. And I looked it up, and it was like way down the road someplace. It's like one of these scientific things. And it was talking about AI. It was on Fox News this morning. It was also on, there was another one, Newsmax maybe? I forget.
Okay.
Anyhow, but on the radio, they were talking about it as well. And they were saying how AI is like taking over things. And they were in a lab situation. They were trying to shut it down, and the AI wouldn't allow them to shut it down. So they were saying that over the course of, whatever this year thing is, which is like hundreds of years maybe, that the world population will dwindle to zero, or pretty much like the size of Great Britain.
Okay.
For the whole planet.
It'll be just machines.
Right.
Right.
And computers and
then they could build themselves. And
right.
Eliminate themselves.
But it's kind of creepy. But getting back to this meat thing with this Chinese kid or people, even his electronics contained information describing her membership in the loyalty to the Chinese Communist Party. So they're here, and it's just a matter of time. I mean, thank God they caught this, because that could really do some serious damage.
But how many others are there?
Oh, who knows?
And, that we talked about it before about, personally about, the northern border is not being watched.
Right.
Everybody's concentrated on the southern border, but China has done war games and different things up in China or up in Canada. And
well, if you look at the Canadian
here
border,
we go.
I have a friend whose son is he works with the Coast Guard, and he's in Coast Guard intelligence. So he was stationed off the coast of Massachusetts at one point. Now he's down in D.C. But he was telling me about, I asked him about his job, and he couldn't tell me much.
Right.
But he did say that we had a reciprocal agreement with Canada where we could cross the Canadian border to arrest people, and, smugglers and all that kind of stuff. He said the minute they would cross the Canadian border, going after, they would get shot at from all angles. This is not being reported on TV.
Right.
He said it was nuts. And most of it was like drug smugglers.
Right. So the fentanyl and every other drug that they can think of, if they can't get it up the southern border, then they're going to come
from Canada.
Down from Canada. And Michigan is pretty close to Canada, I think.
You think? So is Maine.
Yeah.
So, Maine is right there. And there's plenty of places where there's no Maine. You just walk through the woods and you're in Canada.
Right. And I don't think they have AI yet.
No.
That's watching the line there.
No, do you realize how long that
Yes.
border is with Canada? It's bigger than the southern border. And there's no way they can watch it.
Well, even going up to Alaska, don't you have to go
You have to go through Canada.
through Canada to get to Alaska, right? Yeah. So, Canada, number 51,
Eh?
51st state.
Yeah. No. No, Greenland. What happened to the Greenland thing?
It's probably still
What blows my mind, Bruce, is
a thought.
you hear these things on the news, and it's like Chicken Little, the sky is falling. Like this whole thing with Greenland, right? Then all of a sudden, like a week later, poof, gone.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it never happened.
Well, they moved on to something else.
Well, but what happened to that?
Well,
Let's
I'm
go
sure
back
it's still
to that.
going on. It's just that the news, mainstream media hasn't found an interest in it. They're talking about
just like this Chinese thing,
right.
with this new disease, or not a disease, but this, mold or whatever, fungus. Next week it'll be gone.
Right.
Nobody will talk about it.
Right. And then
it'll be something else.
Right. Exactly. And that's what they've gotten us accustomed to, is that short cycle, that microwave world where everything's done in 2 minutes. Well, it's the same thing with the news cycle. It's like you
2
push the
minutes, we're
button.
done. Well, I remember when CNN first came on the air, first cable news network, and it was 24 hours. But at night they had this. I think they would just rerun like some of the early evening stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and then they went 24/7. And I remember when that first happened, everybody was like, "Ooh, ah."
Mm-hmm.
And it really got boring really fast.
Right.
And they were making stuff up.
Right.
We're just covering total nonsense to
Mhm.
fill the time slots.
Right. And
then all the other ones follow suit.
it's not really news anymore. It's more, the big clickbait, the big shebang that's going to last for 48 hours. And
My favorite, bombshell.
bombshell.
It's a bombshell.
Bombshell.
How many bombshells have we had in the past 10 years?
That's true.
Just this week.
The last one, the last bombshell, I think, was the food insecurity thing.
Right.
Yeah, that was a big bombshell. They found out they're insecure.
It's all nonsense, folks. These catchphrases that.
Right. Well, again, that's conditioning. We talked about it last week about it's mass formation psychosis, but it's kind of like a form of hypnotism. So that's why I say mass formation hypnotism, because if you really look at what happens when somebody's hypnotized, now there's always questions does the hypnotist have somebody in the audience that they do, is working with them or whatever?
A shill.
Yeah, shill. But there's some that are pretty convincing. And if you look at it, they give them a keyword and then they bark like a dog or act like a chicken and everybody has a big laugh. But that's a trigger.
Okay.
But that's a trigger.
I have stories, as you know. But we're talking about hypnotism. So I used to smoke 2 packs a day.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Back in the day, I was a trumpet player to smoke cigarettes. Right? It forced me to use my air more efficiently.
Saved on this fog machine.
Right.
Yeah.
So anyhow, I wanted to quit, so I went to a hypnotist. Somebody told me about it. Oh, you got to try this. So I went. So there's a room full of people, and I sat there. And I'm listening to this whole thing, and I'm thinking to myself, this is such nonsense. And I'd say 3/4 of the room actually got hypnotized,
Mm-hmm.
and it worked. And then the other quarter of us just sat there and went, this is total bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wishing that it worked, but
Right.
it's like, I just don't get it.
Right. But
And why is that some people can be hypnotized and some cannot?
it's just their makeup. I'm not sure psychologically how that makeup is, but there's a certain amount that can be. But back to the trigger, what's
I did quit, by the way, cold turkey, so I haven't smoked in 15 years, thank God.
I miss it. Really, the world was a much calmer place when everybody smoked, I think. I don't know what everybody thinks, but maybe healthier, but definitely wasn't. Nobody was walking around trying to get their kid a cat litter pan in school. So, yeah. Anyway, but if you look at what I was getting at with the hypnotist with the triggers, what happens? What do they say? What's going to trigger you? What triggers this person? So that is some kind of conditioning that they've done.
Now, who is they?
Whoever wants to stay in power, whether it's a world leader, whether it's the, I don't know, person of the HOA that wants to control it, whatever, whoever wants power. Okay. They keep you in fear. They keep you stressed. They keep the pressure on. And they keep repeating the same stuff. And then these certain catchphrases or different things that they can repeat over and over and over and over again. If that catchphrase happens, instead of acting like a chicken with the hypnotist, they frickin' lose their mind and they're pissed off and they're, burning down cities. Yeah, right. It's a trigger.
We haven't had a good city burning in a while.
Yeah. But if you really just look at it simply and compare the two things, to me, it's pretty obvious. It's some sort of, very subtle mind manipulation. And that's what it is.
And then we get back to how come some people fall for it and those of us can see through it.
Right.
That's the part I don't understand.
Right. But again, there's a certain amount that's scientifically proven, like I said, can't be hypnotized. I don't remember what it is, 15 or 20%. And then there's 15, 20% that can be just easily hypnotized.
So if we have any hypnotists out there, or anybody who knows anything about hypnotism, put it in the comments below.
After we'll take a break in a little while, but when we take the break, I'll look up the expert that I first heard about this mass formation, and it makes sense.
No, it makes total sense.
Anybody can use it. It doesn't matter what label you are: Democrat, Republican, conservative, LGBTQ, Black Lives Matter. It doesn't matter. It's just a form of. It's almost like the whole country is suffering from battered wife syndrome or battered woman syndrome, where, you're just afraid to do anything. And, you can't talk about something. You can't wear a red hat, God forbid, because you're going to get beat up. That
only if you're Jesse Smollett.
Well, yeah, that's in Chicago, right?
Right.
Yeah. So
couldn't help myself.
You forgot the French Smollett. It's a Podpinion, Smollett, Le Pew. I was trying to figure out how to say Tish James in French, and I kind of thought about that, and it's probably like Le Pew. I'm not sure, but
Pepe Le Pew got
I know.
It's like, what is up with that? This poor little skunk.
Right.
And they banned him.
Right. Just look at the cat. The cat was innocent. It's out of work.
Yeah, right. It's like the poor cat's now collecting.
Right, exactly. Can't feed their kids.
No, think about that. They took out all these great cartoon characters and banned them.
Right.
Why? They didn't offend me.
Right. But
I grew up with them.
But if you look at the cartoons that morph into that's not banned, it's like...
It's pretty bizarre.
It's just... There was some kind of positive thing in there in the old cartoons that you had basically good versus bad, maybe, or, subtly, Tom and Jerry. I had,
that's gone too.
Right. You had, duck season, wabbit season, Hunter, Elmer Fudd, all that stuff. Yosemite Sam. But
Mel Blanc's entire career, right there. You just named them all.
Right. So all of that was deemed, not offensive, but it was deemed too violent. Remember?
But the thing is, who's the Einstein that did that? It had to start somewhere.
Well,
with one person that came up with an idea. correct.
And I think that,
and then the memo went out.
That was the start of, not the start, but that was part of the start of the slow progression.
But there had to be like one person that started that with the cartoon stuff.
Right. But when you look back at it, to me, it gives me a good feeling. Saturday morning cartoons.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, it was awesome. I mean, you know, that's what you did. And then you went on to the day and, you know, God forbid that Dad showed up with the rakes and the shovels and you know you were screwed for the whole Saturday.
You're raking me.
Yeah. But that gave me a good feeling. So what happens when you take that away from a person? Like, you can't even watch it hardly on reruns anymore unless you go on YouTube or something.
Maybe.
Right. So that's a form of manipulation. It's a form of stress. It doesn't give you a good feeling. So they've taken that away. It's all just mind manipulation. That's all it is. That's all it is. And when you say you had enough, people are waking up and they're like, I'm done. Once you see it,
you can't unsee
it. And it's very obvious.
But people are fighting that.
Of course, because it's uncomfortable. Well, they think it, and it is uncomfortable when you really look at the world through open eyes. It's pretty messed up.
Yeah.
Not so much that it's like, you know, we have to be fearful of everything we have to turn the corner on. It's just like, how did we?
Speak for yourself.
How did we let it get this far?
Yeah, that part I don't know. I think part of it is that I'm speaking for myself now. Maybe I didn't want to see how bad it was.
Yeah, right.
And then I was trusting my politicians or the people that I always, you know, put on a pedestal.
Mm-hmm.
Congressmen, senators, you know, elected officials. And then all of a sudden something turned and it's like, wait a minute, these people are full of it. And, you know, it was a real letdown to know that these people screwed us.
Right.
So it was kind of a huge disappointment.
Well, if you just look at things that have been passed down throughout the years, whether it's a dining room table or a hope chest or a dish that great grandma had or something like that, all that has been taken away. In other words, they've nullified that. It doesn't mean anything to the younger generation. They've erased their history.
I was just at an auction house today, right? So they had a ton of Hummels. Remember those things?
Mm-hmm.
The little German little statue things? They used to be worth a fortune. They were selling like 20 in a lot for $10, like $1 a piece, not even 50 cents a piece, whatever. Right. And I said to the auctioneer, I said, what's up with that? I said, I've got a ton of these things in a box, you know, from my mom and my grandma. And he said, you can't give them away.
Right.
So then we're talking about like good china, right? Like Noritake or that just came to my mind.
Right.
But, you know, like decent china. He said, nobody wants it anymore.
Yeah.
I've got like 3 sets. I got mine. I've got my parents. I've got my grandparents from Germany. And like, what do I do with it?
Right.
It's worthless.
And the problem is
sad.
They don't realize what it took to make that, or at that time period to be able to craft that. Now, you know, it's shot in a mold, put on a ship.
Now we're back to
put on a ship, and it's, you know, they got 10,000 of these frickin' things.
Yeah, but I mean, how many families now do you know that will, like on a Sunday, like Sunday used to be dinner time at the grandparents or wherever, and they would have a formal play setting.
Mm-hmm.
So who even knows like what fort goes where?
Yeah,
nobody.
Right.
I do because I was brought up that way.
Right.
And Mom said, "Okay, this fork goes here. This fork goes here. The spoon goes." You know,
napkin on the lap. And,
right.
Yep.
And that's like a lost art now.
Yeah. And nobody wants to take the time to understand where that came from. Everybody is too busy with their lives.
I don't even know any families that all eat together anymore.
No, not very many. I mean, there's a few now and then that get around on holidays, but like every Sunday.
No, I'm talking about every day.
Right.
We used to, like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, the family would sit down and eat.
Well, they just made you so busy. You got both parents in the house working. You got every kid has got to do something, whether it's, sports or chess club or whatever. Then you've got, family functions, band, right? Whatever. That was a whatever. But everybody's just running a mile a minute trying to keep up. And what do? They keep raising the bar. You get so ahead, and then they raise the bar.
Yeah, but some of these kids now, they're so overworked with other outside stuff.
Yeah,
they're losing their mind.
They might as well work in a sweatshop.
No, but these kids are so stressed out. It's unbelievable.
That's what I'm saying. They might as well work in a sex
shop.
Not a sex shop. Sweatshop. Forced labor. I mean, that's what it is.
What, playing soccer?
The backpack on every kid's back with 40 pounds of books.
That's good work.
They're so afraid that they're not going to make it to the next class. So they got to carry every freaking book in their backpack. So everybody's hunched over like this. I don't know how you were in school, but
I had my school, books and I carried.
I went to my locker.
Yeah, get your books.
Got my books. Went to the classes, maybe 2 or 3 classes. Put them in the locker.
I was always cutting class and going to the band room.
So, but that's what we did. But the kids nowadays, they don't do that, and they're not encouraged to do that. And I think that's kind of a structure that is needed, how to plan ahead. They're not planning ahead. They just got everything on their back, and they're basically nomads, and they're just wandering around to each class, and that's what they're doing. They're not planning. They're not scheduling. They're not. It's just all that's been taken away.
Well, it goes back to the thing about when I always bring this up because it's one of my pet peeves, is the making change thing.
Yeah.
When you go to a store, right? So if the cashier can't do math in their head, it's like if it does. All right, let me start over again. I'm getting ahead of myself because I'm passionate about this. So you hand it, whatever it is, you hand them the change. They don't know how to make change unless the register tells them how much. Mm-hmm. And it makes me crazy. And then they just take a pile of money and just put it in your hand. They don't even count it back because they don't know how. And my friend John teaches math in Jersey. And I've asked him about this a couple times now. John, if you're out there, this is for you. I said, don't you teach, not him particularly, but the school, don't they teach common like math that you would use out in the real world? And he said, well, we used to, but we don't anymore. They took it out of the curriculum, like how to do a checkbook, how to make change, how to, common stuff that you would use in everyday life. They took it out of the curriculum.
Right.
Why?
So people don't know how to do that, and they can rely on something else to do it for them, whether it be a machine or the government or,
so you
it
have
just
a power
goes on and
outage.
on.
What do you do?
Right.
Manual.
Right. So, and that's where it really they really focused on was the kids in school. They made the parents go to work, 2 jobs, chase the American dream, house, 2 cars, TV in each room, social butterflies, everybody's got to know everybody in the neighborhood.
Well, there's nothing wrong with knowing your neighbors.
No, there's not. But what they forgot was nobody was watching what was happening with the kids.
True.
So then that generation started having kids, and they're already accustomed to it, and then they up it.
Okay, so now let's back up. So when we were kids, right, and I'm sure some of you are like around our age, everybody in my neighborhood knew everybody, and it was like a big family.
Right.
And all the mothers most of them, I mean, there were a few that worked, but most of them were stay-at-home moms. And they knew where everybody was at all times, even though we thought we were cool, right? Yeah, wrong. But they knew exactly where we were at all times, because regardless of where we went, there was a mother there watching.
Mm-hmm.
So we couldn't get away with squat.
Right.
And I just don't see that happening anymore.
Right.
So when did
I don't remember how old I was. I had to have been 10 years old, something like that. And my mom was against riding motorbikes. So
see, that's all we did in our neighborhood,
right.
Dirt bikes, because we had woods behind our house.
So some neighbor kids had some, and I'd watch them, whatever. I had a regular bike, which we rode everywhere. I mean, everywhere.
Yeah, we did that too with our bicycles.
And so where we lived, there was a road that crossed the river, and then it turned into a dirt road, and then it went up around the corner.
You almost hit me in the face. You know that, right?
Well, you touched my leg the other day, so.
Okay.
Touche. And the kids talked me into trying to ride a dirt bike. And it was only like a 50,
it was a little 50cc thing.
Yeah. And, so I got a little bit of a hang of it. And it was around the corner, it was down the road. There was nobody else around. There was no cars that drove by, nothing. I don't know how my mom found out.
She's got eyes in the back of her head.
But when I got home, she knew I was on that dirt bike. So, yeah, so to your point.
But what changed? Going back to your thing about something changed.
Right. So everybody started being their own little island and stopped communicating. There's a child molester in every van that drives by the thing, so no kids are out playing anymore. I think that's a real problem.
Or were video games a problem?
Well, video games were part of the problem that kept kids inside, but the parents not communicating with each other because they were all working or whatever, I think that was the main problem. And then we focused on the schools being the ones in charge. Instead of the parents in charge of the kids, the schools became in charge of the kids. And they told you.
Because before, when we were growing up, this is the way I viewed it. I mean, I could be completely wrong, but I got the impression that the parents and the teachers were kind of like this.
Right.
That they actually communicated and worked in tandem with each other. I could be completely wrong.
No, I believe
that's how
I believe there was a respect there. I think because they appreciated the teachers taking their kids for that time. There was communication, there was talk. And I think the parent and the teacher was at one time, you couldn't get away with too much.
Not
because,
at all. Well, if I acted up in
either
school,
the parent told the teacher, hey, this has happened,
right.
Or the teacher was telling the parent.
And you get your ass whooped.
Right. So then the parents got busy, teachers took over and felt like they were in command and they knew better. And back in, late 80s, 90s, that's when it started where, and again, it all stems from something bad happening that they carry over to everything. So if you're not eating, if your parents are on drugs and you can't talk to anybody, if they're abusing you, come to the teachers. Then it became, a parent said something that the kid didn't like,
and then
the kid goes to the teacher, and then the teachers, all of a sudden they think they're in control of the parents, and that's where we're at. There's no There's no other explanation. It's just that we've let other people become in power and the parents have done it. Well,
Well, I have some teacher friends now that,
and it's not every teacher, but
no, I understand that.
Once you have the herd mentality,
they can't wait to retire.
Right.
I mean, they're counting the minutes.
They're keeping their head low and trying to get out. And again, they're looking out for themselves, right?
Absolutely.
Right. And that's the problem, is nobody is stepping up and saying, no, this has got to stop.
Oh, the dogs are going out.
Yep. It's that time.
Ring thing. Dogs are going out.
So that's what's happening. It's not rocket science. It's not. It's people have to admit that this has happened, and then they can see it. If they don't admit it, they can't see it.
I think it's too easy to just ignore it.
It seems like it, but everybody has to go deep now. Everybody, they programmed everybody that you have to get into your inner self, and you got to go deep, and you got to seclude yourself from everybody else and sit there and get your mind. And come on, these monks sit in the frickin' mountains by themselves, seclusion, and that's what everybody is doing. They're secluding themselves,
well, and then is cool.
But then what happens is the people that want control, they just walk in and take it.
I see what you're saying. I mean, for me to clear my head out, I'll go fishing,
right?
And I'm in the woods in a trout stream or something by myself, or if I'm with somebody. They're like 100 yards down the stream, and it's just like being out in nature. Just kind of clears my head out.
Right. And again, it's not that what the monks are doing is bad. It's just that they've taken it to the extreme where it now is a problem for humanity. You know what I mean? Nobody's watching anybody's back. And unless you have, in the animal kingdom, there's always one or two that's on alert for the herd, that's trying to, watch out for danger.
You ever watch an elephant herd? Like those?
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah. I just saw one, actually. We talked about that. It was a hippo was coming up to a bull elephant, and the bull was backing up, and then he kind of backed up into the herd, and the herd all just like rushed them.
Which was really cool.
Yeah. And so it's that, I guess. I don't know whether it's instinct. They've numbed it, where
again, who is they?
Whoever wants power.
Well, I want power.
Well,
you want power. You want power. But it always seems as though, I'm not saying it's real, but it appears to be that there's like one little group that controls everything.
Right.
And you can beat your head against the wall until the cows come home, and nothing's going to change.
And that's the obvious thing too, is everybody asks that, well, who is they? Well, you can't name they. Well, I have an idea who they are, but it has to be like black and white proven.
See, that's where I'm at. I want black and white.
That this is happening. Now it's out there, but nobody's really willing to come out that probably knows what's happening.
Here, Dan Bongino, he's the assistant FBI director. So he was on TV the other day on Fox and Friends, talking with his old cohorts at Fox News. So they were asking him about this Epstein thing. So he was sitting there. It was really intense. The look on his face. He wasn't paying attention to the people on the couch. He was like staring down at the floor with this really intense look on his face. Did you see this at all?
I didn't see that one, no.
So he was choosing his words extremely carefully. I mean, very, very carefully. And they asked him specifics about this case. And he said, I really can't get into it because he said, it's so deep, it's like unbelievable. I'm not going to ask you to trust me. because all politicians and people say, please trust me, and then nothing happens. Mm-hmm. He said, but what I am going to say is that I read the entire thing, and we're still investigating. And what I'm going to say is that when it does come out, everybody is going to be like, their minds are going to be blown.
Right.
So, but I want to know, I know.
They're
only like 5 months into this. So.
Right. And they've had decades of people manipulating, changing, erasing, trying to build up fake stuff around it, that they got to weed through all that stuff. If anybody's ever gone into a new workplace as a boss, for instance, there's two ways you can do it. You just not care and just wipe out everything and start fresh, which is not good for the business, right? Or you can go in and you have to surgically kind of manipulate the ones that are not doing what you want is good for the company. So there's two choices. You can either eliminate them or try to get them to work a different way for the company. So he's got to do the same thing. He's got to go in, and that's what they did with Doge and the cutting heads, the overhead, because then you can weed down to the actual meat on the bone. You don't have all the fat around you. Once you have the fat around you, it just gets lost. So they had to get to the meat on the bone, and now they can start cutting out the cancer. So I think that's what they're doing. I'm frustrated too. I saw him and Cash on with what's her name? She does a Sunday show, Maria. Yeah.
Sunday morning.
And, the Epstein hung himself or committed suicide. Now, that may be true. He may have committed suicide. But
with those prison guards, where were they at?
But the point is, did he commit suicide because he had to? In other words, you hear these stories with Germany and stuff, and, the Nazis would come in and somebody would do something wrong and they'd lock him in the office and put a gun with one bullet in there. And the guy had a choice whether to do that or face them. So that's how I take it. It's not that I don't believe he killed himself. I want to know why he killed himself. That's what I want to know.
Yeah, right. And it's only been 5 months into this, January, February, March. Well, so we're in June now. So it's like 5 months.
Right. Was it just a, cataclysmic, what do they call that?
Well, he was facing life in prison.
No, but I'm saying the events that led up to it, the cameras and the guards and the whole thing was kind of weird. Just
all of a sudden the cameras don't work in this prison
and the guards are asleep and
that's something. Yeah.
And he's supposed to have a cellmate and he's not there. So there's just too many coincidences that I would like on my side, because I'd go buy a lottery ticket right now.
But from what he said, that the whole thing is just so deep that they're still sorting it all out.
Right. And
then he was talking about they found boxes and boxes and boxes of files hidden in the FBI building that nobody knew about.
Right. Imagine that. Somebody did that.
Yes, but who?
Right. And I'm not even really worried about who hid the files. What I want to know is what the files say.
Exactly.
That the person that told them to hide the files, that's the person I'm looking for, not the guy who wants to hide the files. And that's what we've been concentrating on.
The surface stuff.
Is okay, we'll just put Joe Blow in jail, and then it just keeps going on. That's what the border and everything else, it's shut down now. There's no question. There's still people going to sneak over, but it's closed now. Before they were saying, Mayorkas was saying, the border is closed. And And, they're showing everybody in new clothes, new sneakers, new cell phones, walking right across.
Joe Biden T-shirts.
Right.
They walk 3,000
Oh, yeah,
miles.
it's closed.
Did he get a pardon, Mayorkas?
I don't know. We'd have to look that up.
It's a good one.
I believe the pardons were done with the auto pen. So
that's good. This auto pen thing is really getting good now.
Yeah.
And should be interesting.
Yep.
Should be real interesting. On that note, we're going to take a quick break.
All right.
You can hear from our no sponsors.
Yep.
And we'll be back in a minute.
Sounds good. We'll see you soon.
Welcome back. We are here on Podpinions.
Podpinions.
Yes, if you're in French Canada or Canadian.
I'm going to have to work on French subtitles, I guess.
Yeah. Can you imagine little French subtitles? So on the break, we were discussing different things. We were looking up, Bruce was looking up, what was his name?
Matthias Despot. He is an expert on the mass formation.
That's what we're talking about.
Psychosis. And again, it's not a medical term that's recognized throughout the psychological medical field.
I got to talk to some of my Frank friends about it.
He goes into depth about what happens to control people and what's happened in the past and why did a country allow people to be loaded on train cars and, sent to their death. So it's mind manipulation and it's herd mentality. We are mammals. Let's face it.
Speak for yourself.
And, there is the need to be with other humans. Sometimes you get sick and tired of being with them, but you're a lot better off than being alone, to survive on your own. It's like, the King of Beast.
Yeah.
On its own.
Although, like during the pandemic, the COVID pandemic, as opposed to the swine flu pandemic, I actually kind of like being away from people.
Right. Well, there was family time. I got to tell you, there was family time.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, we didn't get to see whole family, but if you were with your family locked down, it was nice. It really was.
Really nice. But I was looking stuff up. We were talking about Lyme disease and whatnot, and it's really, really bad in Northeast PA right now with the ticks. But Willie Bergdorfer, who is the guy who discovered Lyme disease, if you haven't read it, you should pick up a book called Bitten, Bitten. I forget the author's name, but it's a woman. And she did a whole thing about Lyme disease and its origins and whatnot. And this guy, he was a Swiss biologist that was eventually hired by the U.S. government. He worked for the NIH and WHO, World Health Organization. And the guy kept his mouth shut up until like 3 months before he died, and then spilled his guts to this reporter. And she wrote this book. And it was a bioweapon. Lyme disease turned out it was a bioweapon, and it's mutated into like, I don't know how many strains of Lyme. But we were talking about, trusting the government. It's like, wait a minute, this guy was working as a bioweapon guy, and that's for the United States government.
Yeah.
And the NIH and WHO, like, we should trust these people. They gave us, they gave us COVID.
Right. And that's another thing also. It's like, there's people in the government that want absolute power and control. And on the other hand, there's people in the government that really just want to do a job and do a good job. So there's I think a method to the madness of cutting the fat in the government is to get down, like I was talking earlier, to the meat on the bone, so you can see who's exposed and who's actually doing good, who's doing bad, who was in the past. Because if you can get enough distraction you've got the power. If you're in government and you have a mentality that you want to be in control, or you want
this crazy stuff over here, but really you're doing this over here.
Right. So if you cut all this over here out, then you can really focus on what's going on.
Yeah.
So I think there is a method to the madness. It's not to punish anybody. It's not, it's the, I don't remember. There's another movie. All right. Everybody commented on the movie that I was talking about last week in the comments.
Oh, and it was Marceau too.
Yes. Marceau. Yes.
And in the comments.
Yep. Thank you very much. So here's another one. It was a guy, I don't remember whether he shot somebody or accused of shooting somebody. Anyways, went out into the mountains. It wasn't Grizzly Adams. And at one point, the manhunter, whoever was looking for him, he would track him. So he went up north, and at one point he found a herd of reindeer. I think it was a reindeer, and he got in between them and then kind of walked with them. So all his tracks would be covered up, so that's what people in the government have done. They've manipulated things around it so that they can work on this.
And
or have people on that, and we're seeing this. Yes.
Well, hopefully it'll change. I'm hoping. It's for me, it's just not going fast enough.
Right.
Because of all these years of nonsense, and now we've got a little glimmer of the truth, and I want it to all come out at once. I'm just.
Yep. It's just look at the mainstream media. What happens if you're an ex-government official? You get a freaking news podcast.
Right. Just like this.
Talk, yeah.
All right, here's one for you. Okay, so now you just brought something up, a new phrase, the mainstream media, but now it's known as the legacy media.
Legacy media, okay.
When did that change?
I don't know. Legacy just sounds too nice. I'm sorry.
What's up with that? Mainstream media all of a sudden became legacy media. I don't understand.
Well, legacy means your legacy. To me, that's too good for them.
Like that, it just.
Well, they probably created. They're trying to manipulate a different phrase because everybody is talking about mainstream media as a bad thing. So if they change it to legacy media, your legacy, to me, that's nicer. That's like food insecurities.
Oh yeah, right. Starving.
So they make it.
I think that's the catchphrase for the year.
Yeah.
Is the food insecurity thing.
Food insecurity.
Starvation is now known as food insecurity.
Right.
But yeah, the legacy, I just noticed that this week. Maybe it's been there for a while, but all of a sudden it hit me. It's like, wait a minute. It used to be mainstream media. Now they're all referring to it as legacy media. And just kind of, what's going on now?
Right. And now that you see it, there's a reason for it. It's not because they just changed it. There's a reason for it.
I've been playing a game with myself, trying to pick stuff out like that. So if I listen to the radio or I'm watching TV or something, I actually try to, or even listening to people talking around me, I try to pick these things out. It's like, wait a minute, that's not what it was 2 weeks ago.
Right.
All of a sudden they're changing their tune.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's part of being alert, and it goes back to your DNA. I mean, we are mammals. Being alert for danger. It's like, okay, this happened before. What are they up to now?
Right.
What
are they up to now?
You see the antelope is eating grass and sees a lion walking like this. Oh, I'm just going for a walk.
Yeah, right.
And
you become dinner.
The antelope has been chased before, so it's a little wiser this time.
True. So talking about things that are in Colorado, right? the Democrats are getting a huge backlash for a fundraiser they had with Ilhan Omar right after this, like, killing.
Molotov cocktail thing. Yeah.
Right. So she came out and she was saying all this crap about, the Jews. And, well, we know where she's at. I mean, but they actually had a fundraiser for her and thinking that's okay.
Right.
And this woman is like anti-Israel. I mean, she's a Muslim crazy lady.
Right.
And
so my Podpinion, again, I go back to what are they trying to do? And it's always a battle. It's always a battle. Jews against the world.
Leave them
you know
alone.
What I mean?
It's like,
exactly. But on the other hand, yet like Netanyahu's ready to bomb the world. So they're playing a game. It's with people's lives. And they're just keeping everybody busy. I think they all should be. We don't need any of them that are starting trouble here. I don't care what background you come from.
Exactly.
If you're against any other thing than what's going to make this country work, you got to go. Let somebody else deal with you. And I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of it. I don't care what nationality you are. I don't care what history you are.
Just leave me alone.
I just want you to understand that we need to all get along, and all the people in power are doing, it's power and money. That's it. They fund, bombings and then they fund the humanitarian effort to the people that got bombed. So they're making money on the bombs, and then they're making money on the funds that are being thrown at the humanitarian, donations. It's just
feeding itself.
a freaking pool of nonsense.
And we're standing back watching this, and I get really angry.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this Ilhan Omar. I mean, how does she keep getting reelected? Is my question. Is Michigan like that far gone?
Speaking of Michigan, the Secretary of State, they just put impeachment papers her for the way she handled the election.
Oh,
so
good.
We'll see. Maybe there's something
and
there.
The governor's crazy too.
You don't know. Yeah, it could be. You never know. There might be a little something in there.
Pandemic. The governor of Michigan, and I have a buddy that lives in Michigan, trumpet player friend of mine, and he was telling me, well, it was on the news too, that this woman during the pandemic, when there was supposed to be a lockdown, her husband's going out on a lake in a boat.
That was Whitmore, the governor. Yeah,
right. It's like, wow, like what is going on?
Yeah. Well, Pelosi was in the
right. She was getting her
hair done. But Newsom was at a dinner party.
Right.
So, I mean, how much more do you guys have to take? How much more? It's nonsense. They're playing you. They can't see it. I mean, not everybody. You guys probably can see it, but you ask why people can't see it. I don't know why they can't see it. It's like
it's beyond me because to me it's like right here.
Right.
And I mean, there's a lady in. Now, I live in the middle of the woods, right? So there's, some roads. It's a development, but everybody's spread apart. I mean, my closest neighbor's like 300 yards away. I can barely see their house. But people walk their dogs and, they go for walks, ride their bikes and whatnot. There's this one woman every morning at like 8:15 goes walking by my house, and she's wearing a mask, a surgical mask.
I know.
She's outside in the woods, in the fresh air, by herself. There's not even a dog.
Mm-hmm.
By herself.
I see people still once in a while. I'll see somebody driving by themselves with a mask on.
It's absolutely beyond me.
And I mean, I don't know. I hope they wake up to it. I don't know if they ever will. But the good thing is now the majority isn't falling for it.
Hopefully.
So my view is if there's something really bad out there, that frickin' paper mask,
It's not going to do anything.
it's not going to do anything.
Of course not.
So we all know that, things it's basically to keep really,
Our stuff from getting
right. It's
It's just bizarre.
The airborne stuff, the microscopic stuff is still going to get through.
Right. Oh, by the way, the Molotov cocktail man, right?
Mm-hmm.
Turns out he's here illegally.
Yes.
He was here on a visa. His visa expired like 2.5 years ago.
And his family.
And his entire family. Well, they just arrested his family today. They're in custody and they're investigating them.
And his daughter just graduated from one of the schools. I forget what school it was. And she was in there illegally.
Great. So here we are with illegal aliens again.
Yeah.
Not migrants, illegal aliens. It's one of my pet peeves.
Well, you could say illegal migrants, I guess, right? Food insecurity.
Illegal alien.
Okay.
I just, the migrant thing, no. I just don't, no. Oh.
Country insecure.
Yeah, right. Are you confused? Country Insecure, the musical.
Yes.
So you and I were laughing earlier. New York State, this is really great. We were talking about microplastics, like on every show so far, on every Podpinion.
Mm-hmm.
So New York State is now considering, ready for this one, banning nonstick pans. They want to ban Teflon. Why?
Because it's causing cancers and issues and
And they've known this forever.
Right. So I remember
But wait, it's the NIH again. And
Yes.
and what was it? NIH and I forget the other organization. FDA.
Right.
So the FDA's quote, right? Ready for this one? This one cracked me up. They want to ban Teflon, right? It's a bill that's pending, including but not limited to pots, pans, skillets, grills, cooking utensils, and cooking appliances. The FDA authorizes certain Teflons, or PFAS, in cookware and food packaging. Quote, because exposure to some types of PFAS has been linked to serious health effects, we're working to better understand PFAS in foods, says the FDA. Now, they've had decades to figure this out.
So I don't remember how old I was. I had to have been 15, 16, something like that. I was still in school, I believe.
When Teflon finally came out, right?
No, that 60 Minutes had a special on DuPont, I believe, was the creator of the Teflon. I don't remember what town it was, but it's stuck in my brain that the town was having like weird birth defects around this plant. And they did a test, a blood test, or they did a sampling from blood tests. And they found that I think it was every American at that time had traces of Teflon in their
I wouldn't
blood.
doubt it.
So
Look at let's think this through.
Right.
You got a frying pan, you're cooking eggs. So you got a spatula, you're flipping the eggs over, you're doing over easy, right? And you're scraping some of that off the pan and it's getting in with your eggs. Hello?
Right.
And then how often do you have to replace your pans?
Have you ever owned a parrot or bird?
No, I hate birds. No, I don't hate them. We don't get along.
Caca.
They're not my friend.
Anyway, so you probably don't know this then. If you cook with Teflon pan and it reaches a certain temperature, it gives off chemical that will kill the bird.
Really?
Yes.
So it's like having a canary in a mine shaft.
Yes. So and that would also, whatever's going on, you leave the pan on and you go take a shower, and then all of a sudden the smoke alarm's going off, and I think it's around 500 degrees.
Okay.
That it has to heat up to that this reaction happens, but it'll kill the bird.
But yet it took the FDA how many years? Ooh. Somebody's car is backfiring. Yeah, let's spend lots of money to put these mufflers in and change out the.
Yes.
I really don't get. I mean, when we were kids, like, glass pack mufflers, 360, engine, or 420, Hemi, 426 Hemi. But this stuff, these little rice grinders with the mufflers and dumping extra gas in so they actually backfire, I don't get it.
I remember
not a muscle car.
Every time I hear one of them, that me, just reminds me. Took my kids to a demolition derby. It was their first one, and they had the Bumblebee class, which was the 4-cylinders.
Okay,
they had all these little cars, the 4-cylinder cars, and they did them first, and then just like the demolition derby, every heat, whoever won it. At the end, they would all go together. So we were sitting in the stands and like 2 seats down. This one kid, it was his first time going into the demolition derby, and his name was Ryan. And the reason I remember that is because I guess he won the Bumblebee heat. I think he had to go in the second heat, and then it was the final with everybody.
So he's in
this little car, and it's banged up, and he's going against the Cadillacs and the, all these other big cars, and it gets down to him, and I believe it was a Cadillac, and they kept, the bigger car was trying to, get him, and he was running, and then they would back into him, and anyway. The parents were so excited, and they kept, come on, Ryan, come on, Ryan. Then all of a sudden, everybody in the crowd started, come on, Ryan, come on, Ryan. Then, like, the whole place was going, come on, Ryan. And it got down to, they both stalled. It was like a movie. And you could see they're both, trying to start their cars, because basically if they're dead, they have to move so many, I don't remember what it was, every 30 seconds or something. They had to move. So, and they had a clock. And both of them stalled, and they're both trying to start. And, you hear pop, 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 bang. And it just reminded me of the backfire there. They're trying to start the cars. And like 3 seconds before the timer ran out, Ryan got his freaking car started and went up and tapped the guy, and
won.
Freaking place exploded, man.
And he won.
Yes, he won. It was awesome.
I thought you were going to say they got out like gladiators.
No. But I'll never forget Ryan. Ryan, if you're out there, you happen to be it was in New Jersey.
That's funny. Where?
It was
Was it State Fair or something?
Yeah. It was over by
Flemington?
No, by Sparta, around that area. I forget what the town was.
That's cool.
But that was and my kids still talk about it. It's pretty cool. Yeah.
Oh, so did anybody see John Fetterman recently?
He was with McCormick, wasn't he?
Yes. Did you watch it?
I didn't watch it. I just saw them.
You watch it. The 2 senators from PA, right?
Right.
So they're in some Senate office, or a hearing room or something. It looked official. And here's McCormick in a jacket and tie, looking very senatorial, and Fetterman with shorts, sneakers, and his hoodie. And it's like, are you kidding me? I mean, the guy's just an embarrassment. But he's kind of coming to the right a little bit. Mm-hmm. However, his staff is dropping like flies. So his chief of staff again quit. This is the third one since January.
Really?
Yeah. So now they're bringing somebody else up, and his staff keeps, because they're saying that he's nuts.
Too conservative?
No, they're blaming it on the stroke and his health.
Okay.
But what I'm thinking is maybe the stroke straightened his brain out a little bit.
Yeah. Or at least he got to see what happens when they try to get you out. And it's waking him up a little bit.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But he's starting to make sense, which is scaring me. You know?
Well, I did say,
I
said, I was not a fan, but, everybody, if you can see the light, I mean, there's plenty of people out there.
Is he really, or is he playing a game where he's trying to get us to think that he's cool?
I don't see that in him. Fairly decent kind of reading people, I think. I don't think he's that type. I'm not saying he's not that type. I think he's lost it if he was that type with the illness and whatever. Well, he's trying to concentrate too much on trying to be normal again.
One of the things that bugged me was he said that he and McCormick see eye to eye on like a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
However, he's just going to vote with the Democrats just because he's a Democrat, not because he believes in what they're trying to do.
Right.
But because he's a Democrat, he's going to vote that way.
Right.
Well, that kind of goes against everything he's saying over here.
Right. So
that's why I don't trust him.
He has to have enough integrity to follow what he believes instead of the herd.
Correct.
So, I mean, that's.
But his staff was saying in this article that I read that he is looking at possibly running for president. So he's really not paying attention to his job in the Senate. He's looking more down the road to become president.
Well,
which I
somebody's pushing him to do that. It's not. I don't think anybody is going to sit there.
Yeah, I want to be president. After
what happened?
Shit? No way.
Unless somebody's in your ear and telling you this is what we need to do or how to do it or whatever, you can't do it alone.
Well, my question is, who in their right mind, this is just one of those, who in their right mind would want to run for any public office knowing they're going to drag you through the mud and your family and your friends?
But what better candidate than somebody like John Fetterman who shows up at, in China wearing shorts and a frickin' hoodie to disgrace our country. You know what I mean? And that's what they want to do. They don't want any pride in the United States. They want.
See, yeah, to me, the hoodie thing, it's like, great. You want to wear a hoodie? Great.
Yeah.
Fine. But there's respect for the office, and the institution that is missing. And it's lacking, and that bothers me.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it's because I'm old school or I just don't like change. I don't know what that is.
Right. But on the other hand, people use that respect for the office look to pretend that they knew what they were doing or was the best for the country or whatever. So you got to be careful. There's a respect for the office, but there's also a respect for what the office is supposed to do.
True.
So
I think that word is integrity.
Yes. So if you don't have that integrity to hold that office, you can wear whatever you want. Whether you're dressed in a, 3-piece suit or shorts, they're the same to me. You know what I mean? Okay. It's, but I understand what you're saying. I think you're looking at it with integrity behind the office. And
there may not be any.
Well, I think there's some that are out there that have some integrity. It's just that they fall into the.
Because even watching McCormick, now I'm a diehard Republican, right? Conservative. But I really thought he was like blowing smoke up everybody's butts this morning when I was watching this thing on TV or yesterday, whatever it was. And he talks a good game, but what is he actually doing?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Right.
But he looks good.
Mm-hmm. And again, if you give in to the fact of, we don't have the majority, we really can't do anything. then you're going to fall into the old victim.
Yeah, right. The victim thing.
You know,
but I'm worried about the midterms coming up because this is really going to be important, like really, really important. I think more so than the presidential election, because if the Chuck Schumers get back in power again as the majority, we're screwed. Because he already came out and said that he's going to undo everything.
Right.
And then they'll impeach Trump again, and they'll have, it'll be a big circus again instead of getting work done.
Right. And again, that's for the party. It's not for the country. It has nothing to do with the benefit of the country.
No, not at all.
And that's what they're doing with this Medicaid and Medicare and Social Security. They're scaring everybody. They're using that mass formation psychosis to terrorize everybody. You're still getting your check. We're not going to implode. It's you just have to let the process happen. There's a reason for it. But if you've got the Chicken Littles out there, the sky is falling. Absolutely. And that's all they're doing. Well, while they're making money.
Medicare and Medicaid, it's not going anywhere. They're just cutting out all the nonsense of like illegal aliens getting it.
Yes. And that's the same thing with you hear people screaming about, the housing, we're short of housing. Where? Well, if we get 21 million freaking illegal aliens out of our country, do we have a housing crisis?
No.
I mean,
well, I don't think we have one now. I mean, just look at this area, Northeast PA. There's more houses and buildings that are vacant.
Right.
So what's the problem?
Well, I think they're mainly concentrating on the cities. You know what I mean? But again, if you
get rid of the illegals,
if you take, 9% of the population that's not supposed to be here and move them out where they're supposed to be, is that going to be fixing the housing crisis?
Well, it will help.
Definitely.
Big time. Plus, it'll cut down on all the waste.
Yeah.
I think about.
So we're complaining because job sites, housing projects are being stopped because everybody working there is illegal. So we're building the houses to house the illegals, and we're giving the illegals a job to build the houses, and somebody's making the money.
The general contractor, I would believe.
So who's the problem?
Well, but
I'm saying it's just a circle, and that's what they do. They just make it a frickin' circle and play on everybody's feelings. But the real answer is somebody's making frickin' money.
Oh,
that's
absolutely.
That's
it's all
what the
about money.
is. Yep.
Regardless of where you go, it's money.
Yep.
But it's
all the fat.
I was in Jersey last week. Hit the old neighborhood, right? And the changes were just unbelievable. It used to be a really, really nice town, and it's turned into this cosmopolitan pile of shit. That's my Podpinion. The town planning board is like putting all this, like, they're doing like these, they ripped down a church that was built in the 1700s, late 1700s, early 1800s. They ripped it down to put up housing. It's like, are you kidding? This thing was on the national, it should have been on a national historical, registry. And they ripped it down. They put up this monstrosity that is just, it's hideous to look at.
Mm-hmm.
Then they're ripping down the Episcopal Church, or they raised it already. Now they're redoing. That's going to be all built up, and it's disgusting. But they're actually allowing this to happen, which blows my mind.
And again, it's erasing history. It's erasing.
That church has been there forever.
Right.
And it was a cute little church. It was old, and it had historical meaning, not just to the town, but to the surrounding area.
Right.
And
well, I heard also, I don't remember who I heard it from. Maybe if you're from Jersey, I believe it's southern Jersey or down, it's not really northern Jersey. I think it's maybe even on the border where there's a town that's banning bird feeders to keep the bears away.
Oh, right. I read about that. It's like, wow, how stupid can you get?
I don't get it. I don't get it. So, and then we got talking about the dog grooming with and again, it all stems from feelings and something that somebody's trying to do good because they had these dryers that you would put onto the kennel and they have no temperature gauge on it. They just blow hot air.
So you cooked the dog.
So you cooked the dog and the dog died. And so now what they did was ban these heaters. They banned these heaters on the kennels.
Well, wait a minute. Wait.
So,
before you continue, let's go back to so this thing clips onto the kennel.
Yeah.
Like a cage, right? The dog crate.
Mm-hmm. They make different types,
yes,
but that's what it does.
Where's the groomer to like watch this, or they just put the dog in there and walk
that's
away?
The point. It's supposed to be monitored, and whatever happened, I don't know. I don't remember the whole story, whether they went to lunch or what. I don't know.
This thing blowing on.
But instead of making the dryer company or somebody put a switch on there or a temperature gauge or a thermostat or something, they banned them. So what happened then is they start putting fans on the dogs. So if you've ever gotten out of the shower in a 50-degree bathroom and put a fan on you, that's what the dog's going through. It's like hypothermia. Dog's frickin' shaking. It's frickin' stupid. It's nuts. Instead of doing the right thing, they just, we're going to ban it. I'm in power. My HOA, you can't have a flag. It's frickin' nuts. And so what happens is something good turns into something horrific for the animal. Now, you guys probably don't know that happens, but it does happen. So
watch it when you go to the dog groomer and ask questions.
So again, and it's just power. There's no common sense. There's no talking about it. It's I say this and you have to do it. And that's what's happened. It's, you got the school boards, you got all this other, I'm in charge, I'm going to tell you what to do. It's just got to stop. I mean, it's got to stop. You just got to put the line in the sand, and it's just got to stop. It's got to stop. That's it. When you stop it, it happens no more.
So I guess it has to stop.
It has to stop.
Bruce wants it to stop.
And that's my Podpinion.
You were passionate about that.
I was.
You almost started yelling.
Yes. Imagine that.
Wow. Mr. Mello over here. Actually,
it's funny because everybody tells me, you got to speak up. You got to speak up. Then when I start talking like this, they're like, why are you mad?
You're passionate about what you believe in, which is a good thing.
Right.
I wish more people were passionate. There's too many.
No, but I've done it on purpose. Like talk louder.
No,
they're like, why are you mad?
I've done it. Whoa. Because usually it's like, what? What?
You're right. Yeah.
So no, I get it.
Yeah.
But no, you're passionate about it. But I wish more people would be passionate because most people are just going through life just going,
well, and again, it's because they've been programmed to do it. That's what it is. They've just been programmed to do it. It's look over here, and we're just going to do this, and we're going to make money. All the thieves in the world, that have made money off our backs, that people have worked, a decade to build something or have been passionate about something, and then they just steal it away. It's just got to stop. It just has to stop. And the only people that are going to stop it is the people here. That's it.
It in my brain, though, it's like, how do we educate those that don't see it the way we do?
It's not necessarily educating them, because you can talk to them till they're blue in the face, or you're blue in the face. Until
they're blue in the face, but hey.
Until they see, I believe I did watch one. It was kind of made for kids, kind of like an after school program on this mass formation theory.
It was like one of those ABC after school specials.
Almost, but it was modern. You know what I mean? And basically, one of the things that has to be taken away is humor. Like, you can't have any humor. You can't laugh. Anybody that laughs at, Rocket Man over there in North Korea is probably taken out in a freaking field and shot. So one of the anti-venoms, antibiotics for this mass formation type thing, is criticism and humor. And what have they done over the past decade?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, just
everything is not funny. Can't laugh at anything.
Well,
you can't. It's racist. It's homophobic. It's,
But even the comics, I watch these. My wife says to me, granted, I used to write comedy professionally, so and being a musician, when you work with a comic, like, first rule is don't laugh at the comic. It makes them crazy. It's just a little thing that musicians do to make the comic nuts, is don't laugh. So that's one of the worst things you can do to a comic, is don't laugh at them. Anyhow, we were talking about comics today. Like, I watch this stuff and I don't laugh, not because I've been programmed not to laugh, but I don't find them funny. They're not funny.
Right.
Like, you turn the TV on and you watch a comic, and it's I went to see, my cousin does this. I think I may have mentioned this a couple episodes ago, but we went to a meat thing, a meat fest. My cousin is the president of an archery club. So they have this annual fundraiser, and it's like meat. That's all you do is eat meat. And then they have a comic, and there's like an auction and whatnot to raise money for the club. So they had Bob Nelson, and he's always been one of my favorites. If you don't know who he is, go on YouTube and type in Bob Nelson. One of the funniest comics I've ever seen in my life. And Rodney Dangerfield discovered him way back when. His entire act is completely clean. Not one curse word. Not one. And the audience was on the floor.
Right, yeah.
And I'm sitting there, even me, and I'm sitting there and I'm laughing my butt off because he was genuinely funny. And I think most comics, or guys that pretend to be comics, are missing that.
Yeah, but also they're afraid to piss anybody off or offend anybody or
offend anybody. But every other word is F this, F that.
Right.
You know, that's not funny.
Right. It was funny when it was taboo.
Well, not even then. It's
every once in a while to throw one in there.
Right.
But now, like you said,
it's every other word.
Just every other word. Right.
To me, it's not funny.
But again, the humor's lost.
Exactly.
So
look at Saturday Night Live.
Oh, geez.
It sucks.
Yeah.
It hasn't been funny for 40 years.
Right.
Right? Maybe 30.
30. Yeah.
But even like the late night talk show guys that are supposed to be funny, they're not funny.
No, they're not funny. I mean, you look at the older shows of Carson and even Letterman when he was first starting out. I mean that was, that's why people watched it because it was funny. Yes. You remember him Carson bringing on, what's his name? Jim, with the animals.
Oh, yeah,
and,
Jim, the guy from Mutual of
Omaha's Wild Kingdom. Yes.
Jim Fowler.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, everybody tuned in just to see what was going to happen with Carson and the animals. You know what I mean?
But we're missing, like you were saying, the humor is gone. I love to laugh.
Yep.
I love to laugh.
Yep.
If I'm working with a comic, I will not laugh just because.
Right, of course. But if you look at like the older shows, Archie Bunker and the Jeffersons, for instance. Oh my God,
if that was made today, forget
They were making mockery and fun of racists. That's what they were doing.
Absolutely.
And they were making it that you didn't want to be made fun of because this is what you looked like. And that's been lost.
Completely lost.
So now,
how do we you get back?
Well, you got to get back into it. And I do see a little bit starting to come back, that people are actually funny. As a matter of fact, CNN just did a clip on the word retard being back into the main vocabulary. So
not retard.
Well, retard. What? Yeah.
Not slow down.
Potatoes, tomatoes.
For real.
Yes. So they're seeing something, or else they wouldn't bring it up. Now, that doesn't mean it has to be a derogatory comment to somebody that is, not normal. But it could be just, what are you thinking? So I think it's slowly people are starting to realize that it's okay to laugh. It doesn't have to be offensive. It doesn't have to be full of swear words. You don't have to be in a little box worried about you're going to offend this group and that group and this group and,
No, offend everybody.
Right. If you offend everybody, then everybody's equal. There's no seclusion or segregation. Well, everybody's equal.
But that's what it used to be, was you make fun of everybody.
Right, exactly.
See, I like the kind of humor like cerebral kind of stuff. Where, like Stephen Wright's one of my favorite.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's so out.
Right.
And it really makes you think. But my wife hates Stephen Wright, but that's okay.
I love Stephen Wright.
So do I, because it's just so bizarre. But it's like you sit there and you go, wait a minute.
Yeah.
And then I laugh my butt off.
Yeah.
But that's the kind of stuff I like, as opposed to yucking it up, slapstick kind of stuff.
Right.
Which it's like, okay.
I mean, even the shows, the comedies that are on
with the laugh tracks that tell you when to laugh.
It's just not good.
No, I don't watch TV. I really don't. I watch the History Channel because I love history. I love like the Outdoor Channel.
Yeah.
The outdoor stuff and the news. That's about it.
I think it's an art that's been squashed. I don't think it's been lost. I just think it's been squashed. And the only way to get it back is the people feel comfortable enough that they're not there's not a boogeyman around the corner that's going to come in and call them a racist or a homophobe or a whatever phobe.
Yeah, pick a phobe.
Xenophobe or, redophobe or greenophobe or whatever phobe that's on the agenda for the week.
Phobe, the musical. That'd be a good one.
Yep.
Phobe, the musical. That's our Podpinion.
Podpinion, that's it. So what else? Anything?
No, that's pretty much it for the week.
All right.
So far. I mean, there's a ton of stuff out there, but we could go on for days.
Right. We gotta kind of see what's going to play out with this. The guy that did the bombing
guy?
Yeah. The Molotov. Yeah.
Well, what kind of got me with that was, and then there's we'll get to that in a second. The guy with the Molotov cocktails, no shirt, running around, and I guess when they arrested him, he had like 9 of them, plus a homemade flamethrower.
And I did see that he had some USAID paperwork
Oh,
in his vehicle.
that part I missed.
Yeah, I did see that.
There you go. But then we got the murder guy that was living like down the road here that killed all those people in, where was it, Idaho?
Oh, right. Yeah.
He's on trial.
Yeah.
Yeah, he lived in development not far from him.
Yeah, it was a college kid or girl or something. Yeah. Yeah.
Can't wait to see what happens there.
Yep.
That's
we'll
a good
see.
one.
Yep.
I mean, that's big news around this.
Right. Right.
So.
And we still have to buy a Sunday paper to see if there's
that's
comics.
right. I didn't get one this past week.
So we're going to check, see if Hager is still in there.
And all the other cartoons. We'll do that.
Yeah. All right. What do you think?
Yeah. Thanks. Time to wrap it up.
Yep.
Leave your comments below.
Yep. Make sure you follow and tell your friends, and we'll work on the French subtitles, you know.
Yeah, we'll have to get
subtitle
machine.
We'll ask the crew, you know. See what they can do.
So we'll see you next time.
All right. Have a good one.
Bye.
Slam the follow button. This is Podpinion.